Hello guys, welcome back to another video. In this one we're looking at, should have West Ham competed for the title in the early 2000s, and should they still be a dominant force in England now? Now, most of you watching this are probably wondering why West Ham should have competed for titles and why I'm saying they should still be a dominant force in England today. Because in recent years, they've been a slight yo-yo club, couple relegations, struggle in the Premier League, always hovering sort of bottom, mid to relegation battles. However, in the late 1990s and the early 2000s, they were a good side with some good players. And in the 1998-99 season, they achieved their highest finish of 5th place in the Premier League and was managed by Harry Redknapp. And that side had some good players in it, some ready-made Premier League players, and the academy boys that were there at the time went on to have some serious careers. We're going to take a look at the academy, the players that were signed, and if they kept them together, what they could have done. Let's start off with the players that were in the team for the 98-99 season. Players that were brought into the club more than players that come through the academy that were in the team, because there was a couple, but we'll touch on them later. We're going to start off from the back to the front. So we're going to work our way through the pitch, goalkeeper, blah, 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 defenders, midfielders. Starting off, we have Shaka Hislop, who was signed from Newcastle in the July of 1998. He made 37 appearances for West Ham and kept 15 clean sheets that season. And he went on to win the Hammer Player of the Year for that season. Also signing at the start of that season was Neil Razor Ruddock. Signed from Liverpool, he had already played for some big clubs. He come in, he was a centre-back that helped keep 13 clean sheets. And he also scored 2 goals that season, and he really helped West Ham secure that 5th place finish. A third signing at the start of that season was Arsenal's legendary goalscorer and all-time goalscorer, Ian Wright. He played 22 games that season and had 10 goal involvements, scoring 9 and got 1 assist. Now, they also made 2 signings in the winter transfer. The first one of those was Scott Minto, a full-back, mainly at left-back, that could also play at centre-back. Comes in with Champions League experience, playing in the competition with Benfica. And he also won the Champions League. He didn't win the Champions League. He won the FA Cup with Chelsea in 1997. Also coming in that season was a talisman, an eccentric, a bit of a loose cannon. Harry Redknapp was told, you probably shouldn't sign him. He come in from Sheffield Wednesday. It's the Italian Paolo Di Canio, who went on to become a top player at West Ham, a club idol, a club legend, a fan favourite. He made 118 appearances in total, scoring 47 goals in his time. Some other important players that I'm just going to quickly give what you would probably like to call an honourable mention. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but Paul Kitson was a striker there that had quite an important role that season. Steve Potts, a centre-back. Stephen Lardizis and Julian Dix were all at the club and were integral parts of that 98-99 side. Now, for some of these players, they were in the twilights of their careers. They was nearer the end of their careers. However, the academy had some good players at the time. They was producing some real talents, and already in that team that played regular football was a young Frank Lampard and a young Rio Ferdinand. That season also saw the emergence of a young, exciting Joe Cole in midfield on the wing, and he played a couple games in the FA Cup that season. Now, not only was Frank Lampard, Rio Ferdinand and Joe Cole a part of that academy, not quite making their appearances during that time was Jermaine Defoe, Michael Carrick and Glenn Johnson. That is 6 players that went on to not only represent other clubs and win a lot of trophies, but they also went away and all represented England in World Cups. Let's just quickly touch on some of these boys' careers. Let's start with Frank Lampard. Frank went on to play for Chelsea, where he became their all-time top goal scorer, and he won 13 major honours, including a Champions League. Frank is now managing Chelsea Football Club. Rio Ferdinand went on to become the most expensive defender in the world, joining Leeds before he signed for Man United. At Man United, he won 19 major honours, including 6 league titles and the Champions League. He now works as a pundit, mainly for BT Sport. Joe Cole went on to play for Chelsea and Liverpool. Unlike many Englishmen, he also crossed the border and went into France, where he played for Lille, also playing alongside a very, very young Eden Hazard. Joe Cole went on to lift 10 trophies in his career and is now a technical academy coach with Frank at Chelsea. Glenn Johnson, like the man just before him, Joe Cole, also went on to play for Chelsea and Liverpool. He only won 5 major honours in his time. However, he did manage to win the FA Cup in 2008 with Portsmouth under Harry Redknapp. Harry knew a good player when he saw one and liked to take him from club to club. Glenn Johnson now works mainly for TalkSport Radio. Michael Carrick went on to play for Spurs and Man United. He went on to win 18 major trophies, including a Champions League. He is retired, but still at Man United, working as a coach under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Louis van Gaal, which proves just how much football knowledge he has on and off the pitch. And last up, and still actually playing, Jermaine Defoe, who went on to become a top goal scorer wherever he went, playing for Spurs, Sunderland, Bournemouth. He even went over to the MLS playing for Toronto. Jermaine Defoe, at 37, like I said, is still an active player, playing for Rangers in Scotland. This season scoring 13 goals in 20 games, only playing 38% of the minutes in those matches played. That there is no mean feat and shows that that guy is still a goal scorer. Now, although a lot of them are now retired, the academy boys, if they kept them all there together as a group of 6, that is a core of a team. You add a few players here and there to that, with the players that were already at the club, that would have taken them from 5th to 2nd or 3rd, maybe even top. What I want to do is I want to pick a team of people, of players that were in that team, in and around it, and then if they manage to get this side out, the other players that they could have picked up because of the quality in the team, I feel like it would have given them longevity even up till now, 23, 24 years on from that 5th place finish. Let me name the team. And in goal, I would pick England's number 1 for a long time, David James. The back 4 would have looked something like Glenn Johnson, Rio Ferdinand, Matthew Upson and Stuart Pearce. And I would have a midfield 3 of Michael Carrick sitting in the CDM. Slightly in front of him, Jimmy Bullard to do the passing and the running. And then the ultimate freedom, Frank Lampard, scoring all the goals from midfield. Rounding off the team, my front 3. On the wing, I would have Joe Cole. On the other wing, I would have Paolo Di Canio. And the main spearhead of the side would be Jermaine Defoe. Now, for me, that starting 11 has got a great basis moving forward into the early 2000s. And I didn't sign any players. All these players played for West Ham during the period of 97 to 2003, around there. So moving forward with that team, if you had them boys in it and they stuck around, the players you could have added around them would have been tenfold better than the players that they did sign going forward after these players had left. Do I feel like that this team would compete? Yeah, sure, it would have done. You know, I reckon this team's peak would have been 2007 to around 2011-12, where they would have won pretty much everything put in front of them. They would have won the Premier League. They would have been dominant force in the Champions League. And I feel like they would still be in and around it, in and amongst it now. Top 5 or 6 minimum. Especially if they could have added players to the team that I picked. Thank you for watching. Do you agree? Do you not agree? Let me know in the comments down below if you don't and why you don't. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you really want to support the channel, hit the subscribe button. Share this with your friends and family. And until the next one.